Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our Malicious Compliance. In today's episode, I've been doing exactly what my boss has told me he expects me to do for the last 12 weeks, and the liberation is amazing. That'll cost ya. Customer demands coworker's personal number. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I've been doing exactly what my boss has told me he expects me to do for the last 12 weeks, and the liberation is amazing. Intent, the post was actually meant to be a relatively funny and positive post. After getting over being butthurt because of the way things came around, I'm actually feeling more relaxed, liberated, and quite a bit happier at work than I have in a while. However, humor sometimes escapes me. Shrug. Nobody's perfect. Especially me. Are you on the spectrum? Yes. I struggle with social interaction, understanding social cues, and can have trouble picking up on subtly. I also hyper-focus. Some people have implied that I'm some kind of asshat perfectionist that makes everyone else look bad. I don't think that's the case. As a FYI, my ability to get *T done is a benefit of having someone like me in the role that I'm in. The work itself is for most people incredibly boring work. But I enjoy finding the hidden trends, identifying ways to reduce waste, and helping indirectly impact the business bottom line. I'm not sure if people will relate, but if I really like and enjoy the job, then it's not work, it becomes fun. I wouldn't have stayed at the place I work if I didn't like it there. Not everyone hates their job or the company they work for. I really like the company I work for, and even though the work I do is monotonous and boring, it's the extra stuff that was giving me energy, and the pay is good. Also, please don't assume that the people on my team were secretly hating on me behind my back. My team's not like that. Even my supervisor's not like that. I was hurt, angry, and frustrated that the whole situation happened, because I thought if there was this big of an issue, we'd talk about it. Not go nuclear. What have I learned? Reading through the comments, I think I understand better perhaps why things went down the way they did. Some of your comments pointed out that maybe my friend picked the nuclear option because he was worried about me burning out, or whatever. A lot of you pointed out that you think he did me a huge favor. You also pointed out that you don't see the malicious compliance in what I posted. # you may be right. Maybe it just feels like malicious compliance to me. Original post below. I've been doing exactly what my boss has told me he expects me to do for the last 12 weeks, and the liberation is amazing. Context: I have worked remotely for about 10 years, and was promoted from hourly to a salaried, corporate, employee for a large electronics retail chain about 4 years ago. At first I loved the promotion. Along with my actual day job, I was doing interesting, challenging, and fun work. I was developing processes, finding and eliminating waste in systems and processes that existed, and coaching/training/developing others. I was easily putting in 60 to 80 hours a week, probably more if you count the mental time thinking about, planning, designing, brainstorming, etc. About 2 years ago my colleague was promoted to be my supervisor, and that's when the trouble started. My new supervisor is a complete tool, as a manager. I absolutely love him as a human, and as my friend we were tight, but once he became my manager he got all weird. Without going into the gory details, I got put on a performance plan for lots of stupid reasons. Among other things, my supervisor said that I had trouble keeping up with a workload that doubled overnight, due to a process change I had no control over, and I was given zero time to adjust to the new workflow pattern. I was working 4-day weeks to try and use up some of the 180 hours of PTO that I needed to use by the refresh date. I was diagnosed with 2 major health issues in the same month. And had to take some off to see to those appointments, and there was zero coverage, no backfill, no backup, for the work that I cover, so my boss had to do it. The write-up basically said that I wasn't allowed to do any personal or professional development, I wasn't allowed to do anything that wasn't part of my core job responsibility, and I was even prohibited, in writing, from talking to anyone inside or outside of our business area unless there was a specific business-related reason to do so. So that's when I decided enough was enough and cue the r/malicious compliance. I actively handed off all of my Toonberry projects, anything not related to my core job. I stopped participating in or leading all but one of the leadership groups that I was part of. I absolutely for no reason spoke to anyone via chat or phone without them first talking to me. Edit, or there being a business reason. 95% of my communication to anyone immediately became via email. I no longer talked/participated/ or offered ideas in meetings unless directed to do so or asked a direct question. I no longer volunteered to lead any new projects or take on new initiatives. I no longer, for no reason work beyond 45 hours. I have no company comm apps on my phone, and do not take my corporate asset with me when I am traveling, out of the house, or gone anywhere. If I get stranded somewhere because of weather, a flight delay, or some other reason, my boss will just have to deal with me being out of office. Since the adjustment time of having an explosion in new work is over and I've been able to figure out how to eliminate the waste in the new processes, I can easily get my core work done in 30 to 35 hours a week. Edit, most weeks. Could I do more? Yes, am I going to? Nope, that I'm not checked out, I'm just doing exactly what they expect of me. Since the only feedback he's ever given me, aside from the PCR that came out of nowhere, is, "You're a rock star, keep doing exactly what you're doing." For the last 12 weeks or so I've been enjoying evenings, weekends, days off, and even leaving early with zero bad feelings about how I might be letting anyone down. That'll cost ya. Many years ago, I worked in an aerospace machinery company where I was the only female that wasn't in an office/administrative position. My job was doing quality control. The sexism and discrimination had started before I got hired, but that's another story. It did affect how I was treated, which is why I mention it for this story. As a parts inspector, I would verify that a part was made to specifications, and then put my stamp on it showing it had been inspected and what the results were. One day I was trained to measure the diameter of a type of shaft that is used in airplane engines. The roundness of the shaft's diameter had to be measured within a couple millionths of an inch. Just to give you an idea, the typical hair on your head is a few thousandths of an inch, so if you divided your hair into 1,000 slices, if there was even one bump on this shaft that was bigger than 2 of those slices, it could potentially wreck a plane or destroy a plane engine by creating too much vibration during operation. My boss explained how he wanted me to perform the inspections using a very sensitive machine that operates sort of like the needles you see for detecting earthquakes. I won't get detailed and I probably don't remember much anyway now, but I did a couple days worth of inspections before I realized that the way he instructed me to check them looked wrong to me. I asked another, more experienced inspector about it and he figured it out fully and said we were inspecting it wrong. The simplest explanation I can find to describe this: if you picture a mountain valley with a canyon, and you were supposed to give the maximum depth, you'd go from the lowest part of the canyon to the highest point of the highest peak. The instructions he gave me were essentially reading from the ground to the peak instead. So I went to my boss to tell him and he basically said I didn't know what I was talking about and ordered me to continue to do it as he had told me to. Now, I could lose my job and career over bad inspections, so I told him, "Okay, I will do what you tell me, but I will not put my stamp on it. I'll do the charts and someone else will have to do the interpretations and stamp them." He agreed. A few months later, I get called into his office so I could be written up. A multi-million-dollar contract was almost lost because the inspections on all these shafts were bad. I told him that my inspection stamps were not on those orders because he told me I was wrong and so I'd only made the charts for someone else to interpret. He backpedaled quickly after that, claiming he had sent out parts for independent verification and the independent verification had said he was right, that I was mistaken, blah blah blah. Nobody lost their job, but I think it was only because his father-in-law was one of the owners. Customer demands coworker's personal number. About 20 years ago my small company merged with another small company from another state. The other office closed and the employees were relocated to our office. Our office is on the east coast of the US. The other office was in a time zone 1 hour behind ours. One of the new coworkers had to leave about 30 minutes before 5 to meet a vendor fixing something in their new house. About 5 minutes before 5 one of the other company's customers called us and I answered the phone. She wanted to talk to the new coworker. I told her that coworker was not in the office and offered to take a message. This led to a long argument. The customer was from the west coast of the US, which is 3 hours behind us. The customer started by demanding to know why the coworker was not there when it was not even 2 p.m. I explained the time difference. Then she demanded my coworker's personal number so she could call her at home. I explained that I was not going to give our personal information about a coworker I had just recently met. The customer then assured me that the coworker had given out her former home number, no cell phone, and that the coworker would be very upset if the customer was unable to reach her at her new home. I didn't engage that argument because it was stupid. Finally the customer accepted that she was not going to talk to the coworker and asked if someone else could help. The answer was no, because it was well after 5 p.m. and everyone else had left. And I was not yet trained on the new product. This brought us right back to that fact that closing at 2 p.m. was ridiculous. I explained again that it is 5 p.m. where I was. We simply do not have enough employees to be covering every time zone on the planet. We have customers all over the world. We don't open 5 hours early for European customers. We don't stay open 8 hours late for Australian customers and we don't stay open 3 hours late for Californian customers. We use East Coast hours because those work best for our handful of employees and their families. Customers are generally our understanding and nothing we do is that time sensitive that it cannot wait until the next day. I finally said that the only choices were to try again tomorrow or I can take a message and give it to the coworker. The customer finally agreed to give me a message but she insisted that the coworker call her first thing. I assured her I would tell the coworker exactly that. So when the coworker came in the next day at 9 a.m. she complied and immediately called the customer back. It was 6 a.m. her time. Woke her up. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share and we will see you in the next video.